Thokozan everyone, and welcome to another great and exciting episode of Izasendumbeni. Of course, I'm your host with the most, Gogo Moyo. Today we're going to be talking about mental health issues. So, there's a lot of information that's being handed out about it, yet there's so very few people that understand what it actually means. Having a mental health issue means that you are or struggling with certain symptoms, and those are being an erratic person. It means that you have very low lows and very high highs. It also means that you could be losing interest in things that you would normally have interest in. For perhaps those could be sex or any other activities that you used to find enjoyment from, but no longer do. Some of them would be struggling to communicate with people around you, struggling to be able to conversate and connect on a human level with other people. Usually people who suffer from mental health issues also suffer from feeling very worthlessness and feeling very empty, almost like they have nothing to live for. So those are some of the things that people with mental health issues would struggle with. Some of the health issues that they may misdiagnose you with are pertaining to ADHD, bipolar, panic attacks, fits, and the likes. So sometimes because people don't quite understand why you are struggling with a mental health issue, they might misdiagnose you, meaning the treatment itself is also not going to be what you need. Having a mental health issue speaks to struggling with a possessive spirit, one that takes over completely from your psyche, your consciousness. It takes over your mood and your behavior, something that can come into your life and possess you in a very negative way. Sometimes you may find that you're a happy-go-lucky person, but you're actually affected by like downtimes, like slopes of energy where you find yourself dealing with a lot of issues and it makes you really, really low to a point where you struggle to get out of bed, struggle to be motivated by anything. That possessive spirit, when it comes to you, ends up being the one that causes an imbalance in terms of how you behave and how you take care of yourself. Some of the things that can affect us with having such an issue is also having post-traumatic experiences. Some of the things that you went through that really, really left a bad taste in your mouth and a bad mark and left you not feeling well. Some of those issues, if left untreated, can come back to affect you and also come back very rapidly and timelessly. And you find yourself always in this rut and not actually being able to associate where it comes from, only to find it's an issue that you had dealt with previously, but didn't actually go through the healing of it, but just moved it around in terms of moving away, further away from the problem, but not actually dealing with the issue. I find that social media also adds quite a lot to how we function as people. Social media was created with the intention of making us addicted to these platforms. They provide a lot of gratification, instant relief, some type of a way into a community or a group, where people get to share their lifestyle, certain standards that might not even be their exact replica or idea of how their lives are, but we are only going to see what they choose to show us. So don't always look at social media and look at the next person who you idealize and wonder, why is your life not actually like that? They won't show you when they're crying. They won't show you when they've been rejected. So don't take it with a grain of salt. Be mindful that you won't always show your downtimes. You're always going to show your ups, your wins, and everything that needs to be celebrated. So don't always look at your idols and feel that that's an actual replica of how your life is supposed to be. Another thing about social media is it releases dopamine in your body, which in essence is the same drug, a chemical that is used when you are participating and engaging in drugs and alcohol, as well as gambling. So it's that rush that you keep having that makes you never stop. Much like how you could be on social media right now, put down your phone. Instantly, within seconds, you're holding your phone again, almost wanting to hit the refresh button to see what's the latest information or notification that pops up on your screen. Spending a lot of time on social media means that you never actually learn interpersonal skills, how to relate with the next person. Meaning by the time you're actually faced by some of these challenges in person, you don't know how to react to them. And also, social media almost gives up a cover and gives us an alter ego, whereas half of the people that are on these platforms are able to say very, very harsh and harmful things that they wouldn't particularly say in person. So, social media also adds to the state of mind and your consciousness. Be able to have discernment when you're using it and use it for positive gain. There are some foods that we eat that add chemically, that affect us with chemicals. And that, in essence, affects the way we behave. They even affect some of the ways that our mind is able to function and how our body is able to function as well. So be mindful of the food that you put into your body. Hence, there's a certain classification of food that for you, once I eat this slice of cake, it's an app for you. It makes you feel better, but it doesn't necessarily translate well when it meets or gets into your body. There's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it comes with the basis of what will people say. It's something that we struggle with a lot because somehow we always want to live by the standard of other people, whereas our struggles remain our own. Yet we feel that we need validation and words of encouragement from absolute strangers. Why is it important if you are a road runner for people who are not road runners? It means nothing for them. Yet you are thrown off your gym regime when they ask you sort of things like, what are you chasing? Why do you keep on running? What are you trying to achieve by this? Whereas they don't even know the relief that it provides for you. Yet you are able to let these people narrate a certain way of how you're going to live your life. That is very crippling to anyone. If you're not going to be able to choose the things for yourself, then you might as well live your life for other people. So drop the act, drop the fact that you have to feel like you have to always explain yourself to other people. If something provides relief for you, stay there. You don't have to it doesn't even have to make sense for other people. To you, it means absolutely everything it needs to. About mental health issues and how to actually solve them. There's something that everyone has to be very mindful of, is that healing is not linear. All of us are going to find our one area that provides relief for us. It comes firstly with self-care. Once you notice there's a dip in your behavior or your patterns, be mindful of how you're being affected by the actual activity that you're partaking in. So then anything that you're going to find as remedy for that is going to be able to be an app for you. So it's either you could participate in exercise, yoga, join a group of musicians, where you can play an instrument, learn something new, reread a book that you've read previously that you loved, but engage in spaces that you otherwise wouldn't naturally enter into, because that's where you're going to be less in your mind and more into pushing and moving around the energies that ultimately affect you, because we keep hoarding all these energies that we don't necessarily understand what they mean for us. Whenever you find relief and find a way of dealing with them, it assists in how you deal with your issues. So even when you identify that you're going through something, it's easier for you to transition and move from there, because you know your go-to places. You know how you can be helped. You know what works and how long it takes for it to work. You know the effort it takes for you to put into it, for you to get placed into a level of being balanced. For all those that don't understand or have never actually suffered from mental health issues, some come in the form of depression or anxiety. Don't be quick to tell someone to snap out of it. You don't necessarily know what they're going through. If you really come from a place of concern, sit them down. Ask them questions pertaining to their actual issue. Try to go in depth over what the issue is, and also try and provide solutions that you can accompany them with. Let's go hiking, friend. Let's go try something new. But don't just provide a solution for someone and leave it again to their own apparel to play it out and to see it through. Because at that time, we don't really feel much of ourselves. We don't feel like we even need to take a bath sometimes, because we don't feel that we're worthy, that we need to be kept. But if you are there as a friend and you're loving and you're supporting, you'll be there to help them actually see them through these challenges that you see them through and actually help them with the solutions. And with anyone struggling from mental health issues, it's okay. It gets better. Only if you're honest with yourself, if you can identify with yourself that you are going through something. Don't be a Van Damme and want to, be a hero and champion through life. We all have downs. Take them with a grain of salt. It's not the end of the world, and you can certainly come around from that experience. You are worthy. You are lovable. You are worth everything that's beautiful in the world. Remember it so that others can also know how to share in that light with you. Spirituality is something that's also quite important with that too, because if your faith is not by something, then you'll fall over everything and anything. So get yourself closer to your guides and your maker, whether you believe in ancestry or you're more religious based, whichever your medium is. Connect and don't dial out, because that's usually where the devil finds, an idle mind is like the devil's playground. Anytime you're not connected to anything, and mostly and usually times where you fall off and don't have the support that you need. I hope today you got to learn something new about mental health issues, and thank you again for tuning in. And of course, I've been your host, Gogo Moyo. Thank you for tuning in. Ndawe.